With us right now on the Oakland County MegaCast is Bassie Shemtov. She is the co-founder of the Friendship Circle. Here with us on the MegaCast. Thank you for being with us. We appreciate your time.
Thank you.
What has this been like for you guys to navigate all that you do in the middle of a pandemic? Because volunteers are so important as well. And this is a time when volunteers are really afraid to go out and to help in the same capacity in which they used to.
It's called Make a Really Quick Shift. Redo all your programs overnight, literally, in March, and constantly try to think of new creative ways. Firstly, to be there for our families that have these most incredible individuals in their lives that need a lot of support, and trying to find ways where the volunteers can help out virtually mostly. We do have, thank God, some in-person programming. Mostly it was outdoors until now, and now we are doing small pods of certain families that are always together. They come as a group, but it's just very different.
For those, I should just back up and let people know, although most of us know by now what the Friendship Circle does. You started back in 1994 with just a few volunteers, and you've continued to grow throughout this entire time. For those not familiar with your organization, can you sum up quickly what you do and what your mission and goal is?
Yeah, so Friendship Circle's mission from the way beginning still continues to be the same, and really at the core, providing friendship for those who are suffering from isolation. Anything from substance abuse challenges to those families and people who have children with special needs, being there in any way to support them. And really, at the foundation of Friendship Circle, the way we inspire and train our volunteers that are a part of it, a part of Friendship Circle. It's founded on the idea that within each person is a soul, and every soul is equal and worthy of boundless love. From there, every program kind of feeds itself back to that same premise that every single person is unique, special, and important to the rest of society.
We're all connected and we have impact on one another's lives, whether we know it or not. When
Yes.
we focus on people with special needs, I feel like that's a voice that's really not being heard loud enough during this pandemic. Do you want to share with us some of the challenges that they face as well as their family members?
Their words cannot really properly describe um, what what we want to try to do is for them not to feel isolated and that we are there with them in any way we can. But think about educationally, think about in every aspect, for many of our individuals with special needs, the whole virtual thing, thank God with the Friendship Circle programming, we've made it work for many, but many of them really the virtual just doesn't work. So it's just a real struggle. And as Friendship Circle's goal was from 94, still remains the same, and even more so now, is whatever we could do, whether it's drive-through or individual visits or dropping off care packages, doing baking programs, you name it, just to kind of keep the spirits up and for them to know that they have a real family that is there for them in many different ways. I mean, during COVID, we've done things that we've never ever done before, so it's just we are open to each one needing a different style support.
Bassie Shemtov with us on the Oakland County MegaCast. She is the co-founder of the Friendship Circle, joining us today on the show. And Bassie, as we continue through this pandemic, the Friendship Circle, it's not just these individual events. So for a lot of those people with special needs that the organization serves, it provides opportunities, whether it be vocational training of some sorts, of many different sorts, at places like the Soul Cafe or at the Farber Center. They have an art studio as well that helps support the growing of these people's natural talents and interests and hobbies as well. How have those services been continued during the pandemic? Because for a lot of people, kids and adults with special needs, keeping them engaged in things that they're interested in and things that keep them busy and occupied is so important to their overall health and well-being.
You couldn't have said it better, 100%. And thank God in the studio, it's very interesting. From literally March 14th, when we had to close, that next week, Monday, we reopened with morning meetings every single morning. We have anywhere from 20 to 30 artists that come on and have that social, but yet productive, like discussing their art, morning meetings. And then we have individual small groups of art where we actually now create boxes of supplies where the families can come pick up, and they could do it at home. And we do have in person with our open doors in our large studio. We only have 6 individuals, morning session, afternoon session, and now we're adding Friday. God willing, we hope to be able to continue with everyone staying safe. But it's vital. I mean, having young adults and adults, in their home, like literally doing nothing is not okay. We've got to do everything we possibly can in a safe way to give them the opportunity to continue their vocation, just like any of us want to be able to continue.
It's just that feeling connected to one another. That one connection, that one phone call can really help bring someone out of a slump or a depression that they may be in right now. And knowing that, just a couple more minutes with you here on the Oakland County MegaCast, so many nonprofits are struggling right now because you rely on volunteers and donations. If someone wants to get involved with the Friendship Circle, maybe they didn't know about your organization, how can they do so, and what are your greatest needs right now?
So right now we do have some opportunity virtually for volunteers to get involved. Some of our teams are coming in person, all with socially distant, obviously with masks, as safe as possible. Definitely to go on to friendshipcircle.org. And of course, donations are always needed for a nonprofit, especially in today's day and age. But there is something very interesting during this pandemic. A very exciting thing did happen in a positive way for Friendship Circle, that we just purchased Dakota Bread, which is a business that is like the perfect opportunity to be able to give our young adults with special needs the opportunity for a vocational opportunity to be a real contributing member to the community, with them being able to be trained in a certain skill set or in several, and then they could independently have a real proper job right here in the community.
We love learning about positive things that have come out during this COVID-19 crisis. How did this actually come to fruition, and how is that going to impact long-term what happens for so many of the workers?
I mean, we have, as was mentioned, we have the Soul Studio and the cafe currently, where we do train young adults in the cafe. What we found over the past 4 years, ever since we built the Farber Soul Center, was that in the cafe, the training there could just be a little bit more challenging. It's a fast-paced environment, lots of quick needs that have to happen on the spot. Customers are right there. And so the chair of our board, Ron Hodis, who has 2 adults with special needs of his own, has really encouraged us to think about starting a bakery. And that was obviously a big feat to think about, especially since we just opened Soul Center just 4 years ago. And so he spoke to different board members and kept saying, we must do a bakery. That is a style vocation that would really be good for so many different levels of young adults with special needs who are looking for something productive to do. I mean, staying home is just not the answer. So one of our other board members just said, if we're going to do a bakery, let's do it right. And let's get the bakery that is so well loved in our community, Dakota Bread. It was literally miraculous how this all happened, and really pretty quickly. So we own it now 2 weeks, and busy as ever. More and more orders are coming in, and we are almost ready to start our pilot to test out the training program in the bakery itself.
Bassie Shemtov with us. She is the co-founder of the Friendship Circle with us on the Oakland County MegaCast, and with continuing all of these services and adding on now with the Friendship Circle's purchase of Dakota Bread Company. How are you maintaining running these projects and maintaining the services of the Friendship Circle while also keeping in mind the precautions that need to be taken for the betterment of the people that you're serving and for the general community in regards to COVID-19?
So thank God we have doctors that we consult with sometimes daily and sometimes, thank God, weekly, where we follow all the precautions. As soon as there is any news of, I think it happened once, where there was somebody that did test positive, we had to close that division for the few weeks. But other than that, thank God things have been really safe and good. Everyone has remained healthy, but whenever there's any kind of issues, we've got to be flexible. This is not a time that we could say, oh, we're not canceling. Of course, whenever there's any doubt, a staff member just doesn't come back in until the right time and they're tested and all that really fun stuff. So, as much, obviously it's way less in the amount of individuals that are able to be part of it in person. But thank God with the virtual programming, we're able to service a nice amount. I wish we could service more, but we're doing our best.
And quickly before we let you go, for those with special needs, and we're talking about all these new protocols and procedures, especially around wearing a mask. For someone who could encounter someone, it's not like an individual wears a t-shirt labeling themselves as special needs. Any advice you want to give to the general public about how to interact with someone that may have special needs that they don't realize in the beginning? And obviously I'm thinking about more like, store employees and clerks when people come into their stores. What advice do you give to the general public when it comes to interacting with people with special needs during the middle of this crisis when everyone is under so much pressure?
Good question. For the most part, I would imagine that individuals with special needs would be with somebody else, whether it's a caregiver or a parent or a sibling or a friend, a volunteer. And what I've always been kind of shared from the family point of view is for, the person that is servicing, and behind the counter, so to speak, to just, if there's a question, to ask, is there something I could do to help? Instead of assuming things or passing judgment to something that might be very different that is actually helpful, to just ask, is there something I could do? But, thank God our families, for the most part, a lot of people are really staying home. Listen, there are people out there, but a lot of people are just kind of staying home. But if they go out, our children and adults have been really handling the masks surprisingly really good. Everybody is able to, I guess, acclimate to what is asked and needed from them. So I think many of us around are pretty pleasantly surprised at how well our children and our families are doing, more than what we would have expected.
That's always a good thing to hear. And quickly, also, how do we get our hands on the Dakota bread?
Currently, right now, I heard and I saw some pictures of lines, which is always exciting. But you can either go there, the Plum Markets have, Nina Salvaggio has, there's Dakota Bread is right on Orchard between Maple and 14 on the boardwalk. And let me tell you that challah and the breads and the muffins are really good. You should come get yours. And we're hoping to continue to grow and be able to have opportunities for many adults with special needs. And really anybody who feels like they're in isolation, we're hoping to be the place to get a job and feel like you're really a part of something bigger. You're really a part of the community.
Well, thank you all for everything that you do in supporting our community as well. I will say I love to purchase products that help me. It's not just bread. this bread has a story, and it's uplifting people within our community and making them feel important as well. And then it's something we all need. So I'll definitely be looking for it as well. But thank you again for everything that you and everyone over here at Friendship Circle has been doing. I know that you were founded way back in 1994 with just a few volunteers, and it's continued to grow throughout the years, and that's because of the important work that you and everyone over there at Friendship Circle continues to do. So with that, thank you so much, and we look forward to having you back on the show in a few weeks. Maybe once the Dakota bread is up and running, we can have yourself and some of the people over at the bakery on the show as well.
Thank you. Yeah, looking forward.